Okay, so this is video number 2 of the fanfiction, The Christmas Gift. So there will be story spoilers. If you haven't read the story yet, you can go check it out on fanfiction.net or Archive of Our Own. It's the same story on both. The links to the stories are in the description down below. Okay, now that that's out of the way. So last year at Christmas, I did a Tangled fanfiction. And in the story, I had a story about how one of the angel decorations came to be in possession of the royal family of Corona. Yes, still an unfortunate name. But when I was writing the story, I had no idea that I would be taking that little story within the story and creating a whole fan fiction out of it. Yeah. It really wasn't until I started filming the video for the A Very Tangled Christmas fanfiction that I felt like maybe that was a story that I wanted to write. I wanted to keep the story simple, similarly to how I did with the A Very Tangled Christmas. I just wanted it to sort of be a feel-good Christmas holiday fanfiction. I also wanted to kind of keep the general idea of the story that King Frederick was telling to his grandchildren in A Very Tangled Christmas. But I also wanted to slightly change some of the details because, well, the story was from many generations ago, so it was bound to change over the course of time. Another thing that I wanted to do is I wanted to play with the idea that Nicholas was kind of like Santa because, Santa Claus, Saint Nick, Nicholas, all that. But I also didn't really want to lean too heavily into it, so I kind of wrote it that he enjoyed making angels sort of similarly to how Santa has the elves to make toys for children. So it was sort of leaning into the Santa Claus angle, but also not really. I also kind of wanted to play with the idea of Alexander, the main character in this story. One, kind of struggling with his new role as king and his first Christmas as king, and sort of give him a sympathetic heart. So I wanted to sort of play with the idea that Nicholas's situation of being, homeless and on the streets would affect Alexander in a big way to the point where he would want to help and sort of give back and use his position of power in a way to help people in a similar situation to Nicholas. So it kind of ended up leaning into, a homeless shelter situation where he and his wife Adelheid sort of come to this decision to essentially create a homeless shelter without actually calling it a homeless shelter. So I wanted that sort of angle of the sympathetic heart and him really taking his role as king and exploring the idea that everybody in the kingdom, is his people. They are his people, regardless of the situation that they are in. So, yeah, that's kind of how that came about. I did go back and forth about whether or not they would find Nicholas when they went back the next day, or whether he would be just gone, disappeared. In the end, I settled on he just wasn't there. But I really did go back and forth. I felt like by him not being there, it added sort of this level of you know, is he magical? Is he an angel? Is he Santa Claus? Like, all that type of thing. But also, like, if I had him there, it probably would have made the story a little bit more grounded versus this sort of, like, unknown. But, I mean, I felt like, you know what? He's not going to be there because I feel like we as people, we touch so many people's lives, in many different ways. Just like people who come into our lives, even if, it's just a brief passing moment, they can really have an effect on us, and we don't really get the chance to go back and, like, thank them for, that smile that they gave us that made our day brighter. Or, like, they helped us out of a situation or whatever. Like, we don't always necessarily get the chance to go back and thank them, but they do still leave an impact on us. So that was sort of the angle to go with. But, it is what it is. I will say, though, it was extremely weird writing a fan fiction that, like, takes place within the Tangled universe, but doesn't actually have any characters from Tangled in it. That was really weird. I've never done anything like that before, and it was really weird, but it was also a lot of fun. Yeah, so I had a lot of fun writing this story. I hope you all had a fun time reading it. I also hope that you all have an amazing holiday season, whatever holiday you celebrate. I hope that it's filled with love and joy and hope. And I hope that you are all staying safe out there, because we are still in this crazy situation after all these years. But, yeah, so I hope you all are staying safe, and I hope you all are having a amazing holiday season. And also, tune in next week, because I'm going to have a New Year's themed fan fiction, similarly to how I did last year, but this time the fandom is going to be Sophia the First. Look, I don't know. It's happening. So yeah, a New Year's Eve type fan fiction from Sophia the First. It is what it is, guys, but the inspiration struck, and that's where we're at. So, yeah, tune in next week for the New Year's themed fan fiction. Thanks for watching the video. I hope you all liked it, and I will see you next time. Bye.